Arman Tsarukyan just beat Dariush, knocking him out in a little over a minute, after just having beaten the number 4 ranked fighter in the lightweight division. In my opinion, Arman is just one win away from a title shot. Let's go over what makes Arman the Armenian so special and how he matches up against each of the 3 veterans standing between him and a title. Arman has a simple yet very effective game. He has a fast left hook, a powerful straight right, and active kicks. Arman consistently mixes his wrestling in with his striking, especially if he's feeling uncomfortable striking with his opponent. On the ground, Arman is a physical powerhouse with great control and more than decent ground and pound. If he gets a hold of you and doesn't let go, there is a high likelihood he will keep you pinned against the cage or the canvas until the round runs out. And while his grappling isn't the most lethal in the division, it wins him fights, and not a lot of fighters are going to be trying to take him down. Arman is an extremely well-rounded fighter with cardio, strength, and power to match the best in the world, but can he take out Poirier, Gaethje, or Oliveira in order to achieve his dream and fight for the belt? Arman's striking is simple but good. The same goes for his striking defense, which mainly consists of good footwork to move away from his opponents and a quick wrestling shot to negate their striking altogether to contend with his wrestling. However, Arman doesn't move his head, and he gets tired over the course of the fight, making his striking defense even worse. This lack of head movement is going to be an immediate problem when going up against great strikers like Poirier, Gaethje, and Oliveira. Poirier made it almost a signature move, slipping Conor's left hand and countering with a shot of his own. Justin Gaethje's jab alone could win the fight against Arman, and Charles Oliveira would have a field day with his lack of head movement. The fact is, even with having just knocked out Dariush, Arman's striking is simply worse than the top 3 guys sitting above him. Wrestling. Arman's wrestling ranges from good to great, depending on the opponent. He's not afraid to take down grappling specialists such as Islam Makhachev and Mateusz Gamrot, so it is highly likely he will be shooting for takedowns against all 3 of the guys above him. While Charles Oliveira is sometimes content to lay on his back when he gets taken down and worked from guard, lately he has been more focused on getting up, using leg attacks from guard to create opportunities to get back to his feet. Ultimately, none of these guys are going to want to grapple with Arman for an extended period of time. It's a great way to tire out and lose rounds. I do think that at some point in the fight, against all 3, Arman will find a way to get them down. He's just too strong, relentless, and skilled to not get the takedown. So the question is, who will be able to get back to their feet? Dustin Poirier has a frustrating tendency of allowing himself to accept bottom position way too much, and while not getting dominated on the ground, I can see him losing the fight to Arman due to being controlled for 3 out of the 5 rounds. Justin Gaethje is pretty stellar takedown defense and doesn't make defensive grappling mistakes like jumping for guillotines. He also has the advantage of having great footwork, which is his first form of defense against grappling specialists. However, once taken down, Justin Gaethje has absolutely 0 submission defense, but he's lucky because Arman doesn't know any submissions. I can see Gaethje defending takedowns by using his lateral footwork to minimize Arman's shots and defending Arman's grappling against the cage until he breaks out of the clinch and they go back to striking. But Justin Gaethje is best when defending against single shots, and he struggled against Khabib's Russian-style chain wrestling. I can see Arman overwhelming Gaethje's takedown defense through shooting over and over, and I think he could catch Gaethje with a big shot after he has him focused all on his grappling. But we also need to consider that Gaethje will be destroying Arman's legs from the bell, making his wrestling and footwork slower and less effective. In the end, Gaethje vs Tsarukyan will be a battle of attrition, a test of their cardio and damage output. Oliveira has the best ground game by far out of the 3 that Arman will have to go up against. Arman will inevitably wind up on top of Charles, either after dropping him or simply taking him down, as Charles has 0 takedown defense. As heavy on top as Tsarukyan is, he does have a tendency to get reversed, and I don't think Charles Oliveira will be too troubled by Arman in his guard. He'd be attacking submissions, upwards, elbows, and sweeps at will. Arman would be smart to not be in Oliveira's guard in the middle of the cage, and instead look to crowd him up against the fence, similar to what Chandler and Islam did to Oliveira. That way, he can break Charles's posture and not give him the space to go for sweeps or submission attacks. Even in the clinch, I can see Arman having good success against Charles by controlling him and sneaking in a strike every now and then. However, Oliveira is dangerous even in the clinch. His BJJ is more than enough to negate Arman's wrestling, and he is just too dangerous for Arman to fight comfortably on the feet. There is a path to victory for Arman, however, it is extremely narrow and treacherous. I am slightly confident that Poirier will beat Arman through anti-grappling and clean boxing. I am moderately confident that Gaethje will beat him, jabbing his face off, beating down his legs, and sprawling on takedowns. And I am moderately confident that Charles Oliveira will beat him, landing clean hooks, leg kicks, straight rights, and throwing up submissions to force Arman to withdraw from his wrestling attacks. So, who do I think Arman Tsarukyan should fight next? Who is the perfect opponent to be a stepping stone towards the title? I think he should fight Michael Chandler. That would be sweet.
I'm a pale imitator of a boy in the sky.